Hi, welcome again to Wood Spun Round. I'm Doug. I'm the owner operator, so to speak. This is my shop, and I'm glad to have you with me yet again. Wanted to show you a little different kind of a project today. I was given a board, basically, about a 4-inch piece of wood, 4 inches thick, probably 6.5 inches wide. I'm looking at it is why I'm looking off to the side here. But anyway, it's kind of a light wood. It was given to me under the understanding that it might be basswood. I'm not so sure it is. It's about as nondescript as basswood, but it's a bit heavier than what I think basswood is. I have cut off a piece that's as long as it is wide, and I've turned it round, gotten the basic shape of the bowl. Let me show you what else I've done here. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to bring you back here in a minute. You can see there is the bowl, and it's been stained black. Let me come around this way. There we go. You can see the wood is fairly light. There's not a lot of grain pattern to it. Pretty plain and indescript. But I have stained it black. The reason is I'm going to come back here in just a moment. I am going to, once this is dry, I just finished putting the stain on. Once this is dry, give it just 15 minutes or so, I'm going to come back. I'm going to buff it back with the Scotch-Brite pad, and then I'm going to put a pink embellishing wax on it. So I'll bring you back here in just a minute for that. And we're back. It's been about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes maybe. I've got my gray Scotch-Brite pad. I'm just going to lightly knock that back, any nibs that were raised. This is Hampshire Sheen's Intrinsic Colors. They are a water-based stain, and so being water-based, they will raise the grain. That's really nice and smooth right now. That was sanded up to 320 before I put the stain on. Still got a little stain coming off. It might be just a touch. Well, it looks dry. Maybe it just, maybe just my hands were. There we go. Speed it up to 750 just to knock those nibs back. A little bit of dust coming off. That's okay. That's a good thing. Means we're getting the nibs off. The little fuzzies, the grain that was raised when I put that color on. Now that we've done that, here's my wax that I'm putting on. You can see there Hampshire Sheen's pink, hot pink embellishing paste wax. It is a wax, and as you will see, it is exactly what they say. It is hot pink. I was watching a video, and the dealer said, you know, brand new color just came out. And my wife happened to be sitting there watching with me, which is unusual anyway, but she was watching and she said, oh, we need to get that pink. So I got it, along with some other colors. It goes on the black, and I'm going to put it on fairly liberally, but on the black, it doesn't come out quite as bright as what you would think it would. The whole idea here is that we rub it into the grain as much as possible. I don't want it left everywhere. I want good coverage, but I don't want it globbed up. So I'm going to rub it in very well. Rub it into that grain, with the idea being that once we buff this back, what's going to be left when we buff it, it's going to remove the wax from the high spots, leave it in the grain. So I guess it goes without saying that the more open grain the wood is, the more this pink would show. As it is with this grain, it's going to show pretty good in a few spots. Some places you're going to wonder, did he actually put some on it? But as you can watch, you're seeing this spot right here. It didn't even take stain very well. It's kind of a hard spot. So I'll put a little dab extra there and rub it in just a bit. You notice I am wearing a big blue glove. It does. It will stain your hands. There we go. That's on pretty good. I'm just rubbing it in, hoping to get it down into that grain, wherever it will go into the grain. It won't go in everywhere. That's okay. I'm not worried about that. I don't want it. This is how what the wood is going to give me in this case. The stain, some places it took the stain better than others. Some places I barely touched my paper towel with the stain, and my towel was dry. It soaked it up that fast. Sucked it out of the towel. The wax is kind of the same way. On the end grain, it's taking it pretty good. Side grain here, there's a streak right there. You can see the color of the wood coming through. Not only the stain, but the wax as well. But I'm going to guess there'll be a little remnant of the wax there even after we buff it off. All right, well, I'm gonna, and you might be able to see there, the black has come off on my towel just a touch. The wax drawing that water-based stain out of the wood. All right, I'm gonna let this stand for just a couple of minutes. I won't make you suffer through me rambling on. As they say over in England, waffling on. Excuse me. Because it would be simply rambling, and you don't need to hear that. You don't want to hear that. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and when this dries, I'll turn you back on. All right, it's been just a few minutes. That wax has had a chance to go off just a bit, as it should. Paper towel in hand. We're going to start the lathe at 1,000 RPMs just to buff this off. Light pressure. I don't want to wipe it off, but I do want to buff it. Take the wax off the high spots just a bit. Here's it coming off on the paper towel, the excess. Don't want to burnish this wax. You don't want to take it off. You simply want to buff it. And the excess will come off. I'm going to go to a clean area. We were at 1,000. I'm going to run it up to 2,000 for just a minute. Still seeing wax move about just a bit. I like where I've got this little foot right here. The pink is right there in that bottom edge. I kind of like that. All right, that'll do. That'll do. I showed you my original side where the wax was coming off, and there's the second side. There, get it where I can see it. Lights kind of bleached me out here just a little bit. But you can also see Okay. You can see I've started the process. I've got that wall down to, what is the thickness of that wall? We are at 1/8 inch. That's about as shallow or as thin as I'm going to go with this particular bowl. And that's only for the first half an inch or so. We're going to work our way on down. I'll bring you back in here in just a few moments as we get closer to the bottom. All right, I've just stopped the lathe. I've pretty well got this hollowed out. I'm pretty even wall thickness all the way down to right at this transition spot, and it gets a little wider. We've got just a couple more passes there to make, and then we'll be done with the turning part. Give it a check, see where we're at. That's much better. I got a little lump right there, right after the transition before I get to the bottom. Let's make one last pass and then we'll be done. I hope that's my last pass. I think so. Time for sanding, and nobody really likes to watch sanding, so I'll bring you back when the sanding's finished. Since I'm going to use the abrasive paste and wax as the finish on the inside of this bowl, I want to clean it before I do the abrasive paste. There we go. We clean it with denatured alcohol. Some places, Europe, it's called methylated spirits. Some parts of the U.S., some parts of the U.S., they call it other things, especially camping fuel. Denatured alcohol is used in a lot of lamps and lanterns. Other things as well, and so it's readily available. You just gotta be aware that it may come under a different name, whether it's denatured alcohol, methylated spirits, camp fuel. I had forgotten that camp fuel was the same thing as denatured alcohol, and was watching a YouTube video, somebody's YouTube video, and they pulled out this gallon can and it said camp fuel right across the front. I'm thinking, camp fuel, they picked up the wrong can. No, they didn't either. They picked up the exact right can, because it's alcohol. It's the same thing. That was the cleaning stage. Next we'll do a sanding sealer on the inside. We're going to give this just a couple of minutes to dry. You can see it where it's getting lighter in this area right here. That's where it is drying. Alcohol dries very, very quickly. About almost to the point where I got to mix up some more. Let me turn that on just to get some air going on it. I'm going to have to mix up some more sanding sealer probably after this piece. My sanding sealer is a cellulose sanding sealer. I mix it 50-50. with lacquer thinner, and that works out extremely well. The thinner allows it to penetrate deeper into the wood, so it seals deeper down into the wood. Still has enough body left to it. That lacquer-based sanding sealer still has enough body that it seals the ends of the cells, the ends of the grain. It gives a good base for other finishes, but also whether you're using lacquer or you're using something else, it doesn't really matter what your finish is. What you're wanting is to, those open cells, you're wanting to kind of close them up. That's why, like in my staining, when I stained the outside black, I did not use sanding sealer there because had I closed that grain off, then my stain would not have been accepted at all. And that's not, I mean, I wanted my stain accepted. I wanted it to be black. I could have used my black enamel paint that I've got. There is also what they call ebonizing lacquer. It's really an acrylic. It's not lacquer at all. It's an acrylic lacquer type finish that has black dye in it, black pigments. All right. That will start to set, that will dry rather quickly as well. Got a little bit of run over there on that edge. Hope that doesn't bother me here in a minute. I don't think it will. I think it'll just dry up. I had wax on there anyway, so it shouldn't penetrate too much. But you can see my, there, you can see my bottle. I got, there's very little. It's just about there. So very little. I've probably got enough for one more bowl about this same size. But I will mix up some more and have plenty of it on hand. I'm going to give that just a couple of minutes. It doesn't take long to dry, but I probably rush it more than I should. I'll bring you back here in time for the next step. Mine is probably a little stiffer than most all of the commercially made abrasive paste, but I'm telling you, it works really good. I have two of the commercial abrasive pastes. One I've used a little bit, not very much, because right after I got this. I really wanted to give this an honest shot, and I have. You can see it's going down slowly but surely, but it is going down. It goes a long way, longer than you would think. I was talking about it earlier today with my dad, and the others, the commercial paste, are softer to begin with, but once you get this on your paper towel and you begin to work it on the wood, it softens right up and it spreads very, very well. I can feel and hear the grit that is in this paste. It does a great job, and I've shared the instructions with you before. I will start this at 250, which is the slowest preset I have. I can go slower, but no need to. And I'm going to take the same area of the paper towel that I applied it with. See if you can, yeah, you can almost see it. Anyway, that's where the area I applied with. I'm just rubbing it into the wood, letting that abrasive do its job. It's really slow in the center, but the paper towel is beginning to disintegrate already. So that abrasive is there. I can just work this in, massage it in, and then as I feel it start to, that grit start to break down a bit, I can hear it, I can feel it, I'll speed it up. Let's go on up now to 500. We were at 250. Still haven't changed my paper towel. When I go up to the next speed to 750, I'll change paper towel areas and get a clean spot. I'll start watching to see if I'm getting any residue or not. As long as I'm getting residue, I'm going to continue to rub this in. Not rubbing it in hard, not a lot of pressure. Allowing that grit to work. Putting a little pressure simply because it drags the wax and the oil that is in this paste, causes the paper towel to drag a bit. So I'm holding it fairly tightly with my thumb and finger here, and then I hold it there and I press with middle and ring finger. Don't have to press dramatically hard. Just let that paste do its job. All right, I'm gonna speed it on up. 750. I'm going to go, this is the side where I applied and I've been rubbing. I'm just going to flip it over right now to the clean area. Start out here on the rim and I'm going to work my way down. Doesn't matter where you start. The only reason I'm starting on the rim is to make sure anything I might have let go over the edge of the rim, I pull it back. I really don't want it on that outside where we've already semi-finished. Heard somebody recently say that they were using this abrasive paste as their finish. This abrasive paste is not a finish. It is a part of the sanding process. I sand it to 320. This paste will take it from there and go up to in the neighborhood of 1,000 grit. And because it's in a paste, there is no dust. So I don't need to wear breathing apparatus. I don't need the vacuum going. I've got my air cleaner on only to make sure I don't have, that it collected any ambient dust that was in the air from my sanding process. And I'm looking around and I'm telling you, I don't see dust. All right, I'm gonna start with a fresh piece. Fresh piece of towel. We're gonna speed it up yet again, up to 1,000 grit, or excuse me, 1,000 RPM. Not 1,000 grit. This paste will take it to 1,000 grit. That's about where we're at now, is 1,000 grit. I'm not feeling that at all. In fact, I've got very little residue. So I'm about to speed it up one last time and I'll get a clean section once again. Okay, let's go take the 1500, another clean section, and I should get no residue on my paper towel. Nope, no residue. So we're just buffing at this point. There is a little bit of boiled linseed oil and a little bit of boiled linseed oil, beeswax. Seems like there's something else. And then the grit, I believe, is pumice that is used in Yorkshire grit. This is it's a, well, I don't even want to try to say it because I can't come up with exactly what it is. But it is an agricultural product. It's called Earth. It's one of the products they use to take care of ants. But it is non-toxic to humans. So it's a good product to use. Now, was listening to a fella, I don't remember if it was last night or today, was talking, at this point we tend to rush things, especially those of us who are making YouTube videos. We rush right into putting wax. This really needs to sit for a few minutes. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to see if it does any better. I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll bring you back here in just a couple of minutes after this has had time to set up. Okay, that abrasive paste has had time to set up a bit and dry. This is Hampshire Sheen's food and toy safe high gloss finish wax. I'm going to put a coat of this on. This has kind of become my go-to wax. I know a lot of others have as well. Most everybody's heard of it. But it really needs to go on in very, very thin coats. There we go. I've got enough between what I originally got and now. That's more than enough for the inside of this bowl. It doesn't take very much. A fellow was saying the other day, if you can see it, you put too much on it. So we're going to leave it very light. And again, wax takes a little while. It takes 15-20 minutes. So again, I'll bring you back here in just a couple of minutes after this has had time to set up. Well, I forgot to push the on button. We're buffing off this final coat of wax. This is a coat that's inside and outside. I wanted some in both places. The back is looking awfully good. It's really smooth, just like it ought to be. I've already refolded my towel. Took some color off of the back side with wiping that wax or buffing the wax. This is a light buffing. I am not pressing hard. Shine is developing. It's getting smoother and smoother. Every coat of wax has gotten smoother. Just finishing it up. We'll have everything done except removing the tenon. I'll explain what I'm doing there. It's been interesting with taking the time to allow all these levels of abrasive paste and the wax and everything, giving it the time that it needs to actually set up before we go on. I've taken the time, I've scooped up some of my shavings that I've been standing on for a week or so. I've also picked up paper towels. I've been just dropping them at my feet, knowing I'm going to pick them up, and I haven't. So I've done that tonight during the time where I've taken the little breaks, allowing the wax and whatever to dry. The sanding sealer had to dry, the alcohol had to dry, the wax or the abrasive paste had to go off, dry. The wax and oil that's in that after I buffed it out. The wax after application needs to sit. Everything is just working together. It just takes more time than most people realize. Even turners, we want to speed things up. We want to do them as quickly as we can. And I wonder if that's not to our detriment. In fact, I know it is to our detriment. Ah, yeah. Nice even shine all the way through. Beautiful. We've brought some of the grain out, especially in this side grain. Some chatoyance, that flash of color. Wow. I don't like what I've got on the outside. In fact, what I think I've got to do, I've got to put some more wax on that back side. I can do that after I turn it around. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to loosen my headstock, bring it back to square. It's got it around to the detent, then I've got to lock it down. Nova puts a large bolt-like apparatus on this back side over here, comes through, locks everything down. That will not move. Even if I release the lock, it won't go anywhere. So there we go. Lock my headstock, loosen my chuck. There you go. You can see the shine on the inside of the bowl. It's quite nice. The backside looks good. Some way or another, some of that wax was pulled back off. So what I'm going to do a couple of things here. All right, we're back. And you are probably already noticing it's not black any longer. It definitely has no color, no pink. I am not sure what was going on other than I don't know. I'm going to have to, I don't have to, but I'm going to contact the manufacturer, because the manufacturer, there's only one manufacturer makes both of these waxes. Hampshire Sheen and the well, what's that called? Embellishing wax. This is Hampshire Sheen as well. So I'm going to call, or I'm going to email, I guess, not call. Probably will get a quicker response by email. But anyway, that I'm kind of baffled. I've seen others use wax on top of the embellishing waxes. Let them sit for half an hour, give them time to cure, and then put a clear wax, a finishing wax on top. One more. Well, just knocked my wax off. Glad my top was on. In fact, I could probably call the guy tomorrow where I got the embellishing wax. He has been a dealer and is well known for some of his finished work. Give him a call. I'm sure I can get through to him and see if he has any idea. That just kind of blows my mind a little bit. I did not introduce any chemicals. It was simply wax on top of wax. Should not have been an issue. All right. Well, I am going to allow this to... Wow. Got a little bitty bottle. This is the black out of a kit, trial kit that I got with all the various intrinsic colors. What is there? 12 colors in a little small box. So I knew these bottles were small, but I had always heard they really last. They hold up. You don't use a whole lot of them. So that's where we're at. I'm going to allow this to dry for just a few moments. We'll put it on 500, turn it on. That won't sling anything out, just causing air movement. It'll dry just a little bit faster. We'll come back in just a minute. We'll put the pink. I'm going to go back and use the hot pink embellishing wax. In fact, I'm going to knock this back just real lightly. I think I used the Scotch-Brite pad before. In fact, that's probably what we'll use. Use the Scotch-Brite pad. Use the pink embellishing wax. We'll let it sit for 15-20 minutes. And we'll come back. We'll buff that off, and that'll be that. We won't try to put anything else on top of it. Are we almost dry? We're getting close. In fact, I'll turn that on. I'll give it a little help here. And while this is doing its thing, let me just share with you. Hopefully that's not too loud and you can hear me okay. This last week, my wife has been dealing with COVID. I really thought that I would have it as well. Got tested yesterday and found out I am not. I'm not positive. So I have been having some sinus issues. That's all it is, sinus issues. And so I'm extremely ecstatic about that. Got a text a while ago. Someone else, a friend that I have here, a member of our church, he had been in the hospital with COVID. He has come home, no oxygen or anything. Everything is going well. He's able to maintain his oxygen levels. And so life is good. Yeah, that doesn't look bad. I'm getting the chatoyance even through the black stain. Get my Scotch-Brite. I'm going to give that a quick buff. There we go. I will knock that stain back just a little bit, and if it raised any grain, should not have been any grain to raise, but just in case. All right. Took a little of that stain out, but not much. But one little spot right there at the bottom I want to well, see if I can get just a little more stain to sit on there. As a matter of fact. Very good. Very good. Hit that with the Scotch-Brite. That's all we're going to do there. I think we got it. Yeah. Oh, I hate when I have to crawl underneath my lathe like that. All right, pink embellishing wax. And it's, I wasn't kidding, it is titled Hot Pink right there on the lid. There we go. Fresh paper towel. Getting the same thing, and the pink on top of the black, it's coming out as a kind of a purple. All right. Around here, just give it a good rub all the way around. Working it into that grain. Not a lot of grain to work it into. I will probably have to, maybe not. Okay. Thinking I may have to come back and sand the edge of that rim off, where a little bit of that wax went over the edge, but I think we're in good shape. There again, I'm just putting my dirty stuff at my feet. It's on a pile of shavings, so it's safe. And I will collect all of those up, all these paper towels, and I'll dispose of them in the trash. My shavings will go in a compost pile. Compost pile is beginning to overrun a little bit. I'm going to have to, this spring, I'll probably take my compost and move it out to the garden area, or maybe even put it in the chicken coop, let the chickens have it, start fresh, put the actual broken down compost out in the garden area. So anyway, I'm going to bring you back in a few minutes after this has had a chance to set up. All right, we're back, and it is time to buff the hot pink wax off of the black dye. Looking pretty good here, folks. Looking pretty good. I really like this embellishing wax. I will find out in the next few days what's going on, why when I put the finishing wax over the embellishing wax, why it seemed to peel it away. That baffles me a little bit. I would not have thought there had been any issues whatsoever. I'm pretty sure I have seen some others do it. I will inquire of them, but also I'm pretty sure I've got the right person in mind that I saw do it. But I'm going to go back to the guy who I bought the embellishing wax from. I'm also going to send a message to the maker. Nothing like going to the horse's mouth, is there? It's one of the neat things about this community is you can do that. Well, I got a big glob of pink right there and some more right there, and that seems to be, yeah, there's side grain, so that would be end grain and side grain and end grain. Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to reverse it. Reverse it and buff it so a little more. Got two hands on here, but I'm really not using any pressure. Very light pressure at that. I don't really mind those two large blocks of the pink wax on here. It looks great. Since this is not a real open grain wood, I wasn't getting just tons of it, tons of the pink. A little concentrated pressure right there at that top edge. And I think that's got some of that off, so it will look, oh yeah. I'm seeing it move. You probably cannot see that on the camera. I'm building up just a little dab of heat just for the sake of being able to forward. There we go. Push the on button or the run button instead of the off button, and it helps. All right, I think we're gonna let that be that. Through with the Scotch-Brite. Got to make a minor adjustment here. Slow my lathe down. I'm gonna start working this very bottom off. Using a 3/8 inch detail gouge. All right, part of my nub just broke out. Whoa, 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 stop, stop, stop. Wow, that was hitting on my dust collector. Tool rest out of the way. That's all right, I can sand that out if I haven't messed anything up on my outside finish here. Inside finish I can work on some more. I've got nothing. All right. There you have it. I've got these rings. Those were intentional. I'll put those there. That's where I'll put my mark. I'll sand this center nib out, but you can see the pink and the black have developed a nice purpley color. The inside, it's dusty. Woo, yuck. It's dusty, but it's still got shiny. There's no marks on the inside. All I got to do is, well, in fact, let me blow it. There we go. That's got most of it. I got a little more to knock out, but you can see the shine. The outside looks great. I'm gonna leave it just as it is. Sand that up. Yeah, I got a little mark, but that'll rub out with my paper towel. Sand out this center, put my mark on there. This is done. I appreciate you being with me. If you like what you see, if you'll go over and excuse me, just below the picture and click the thumbs up button, the like button. That'll help the channel out. If you want to see more of what I do, hit the subscribe button. And over to the right of the subscribe button is a bell. If you hit that bell, then go up to all. It will notify you every time that I put a new video up on the to be viewed. Every time I upload one. So if you'll do that, those two things will help me as much as anything. If you don't like it, feel free to hit the thumbs down button. And if you would, go down in the comments and tell me why. I want to be the best or have the best channel that I can have. If I can accommodate what you are requesting, I'll be glad to do that. Feel free to make any comments in there you want. Like it or don't like it. Put those comments in there. They'll help me out tremendously. So until next time, spin them round.